Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing how you can get your book in professional form really, so editing and formatting. Once you've got your book ghostwritten, you need to edit it and format it. So let's get on into it, shall we?
Yeah, so editing. There are sort of two facets to editing. First of all, you are going to want to go through the whole book, obviously, and make sure that all of the grammar sounds good. There are no spelling mistakes or anything like that. And you want to make sure the style of your writing is consistent throughout the whole book. And the second facet is going to actually be making sure that the substance of the book sounds the way you want it to sound, like everything should flow correctly and make sense in the way that you've written it. So those are the two facets of editing that you're going to want to focus on as you're doing this. Obviously, there are two options for doing editing. You can either DIY it or you can get it outsourced. But if you do get it outsourced, you still want to get the manuscript back and read through it all and make sure that it all still sounds the way that you want it to sound.
I think a lot of people, and obviously some of the students that we've been teaching, they don't actually read it themselves when they get back the manuscript. They can't just trust that the ghostwriter has written it exactly how they want it. We always say just to definitely go through the manuscript, read it. It's your own book. You should be proud of it, but you need to make sure it actually makes sense to you.
Yeah,
and if it makes sense to you, it's going to make sense to your reader as well.
Exactly.
Okay, so first of all, doing it yourself. So, of course, you can do it yourself. You can read through the manuscript, as we just said. Look for any obvious surface level errors. So any obvious spelling mistakes, any sentence structure which doesn't sound right at all. And do that first. Then you want to run it through an editing app online, such as Hemingway, Outright, or you could use Grammarly as well. We haven't put that there. Either one of those is absolutely fine. We just use the free version. So obviously you can use that as well. And then what we always do, we always have a fresh pair of eyes to look at as well. We always send it to your dad, don't we?
Yeah, we always send it to my dad.
He's pretty good at that sort of thing. So if you have someone in mind who
it doesn't really matter who it is. Yeah, a friend, a parent, anyone.
But everyone, different people always pick up slightly different things. So
or we'll have like different sort of advice that you can like on maybe how a certain chapter could sound better. So that sort of thing. It's not just necessarily grammar, but also like if there's maybe missing content, somebody will help point that out if you didn't see it yourself.
And you'd be surprised actually how many little errors are just picked up by someone else just having a look at it. So definitely recommend doing that. So obviously it's much more time intensive than outsourcing it, because when you outsource it, you're paying for someone to do it, because you have to be extremely careful not to miss any grammar or spelling mistakes, and you have to do it a few times to be sure you've gotten everything right. Think about when you go reading a book yourself, you don't want to see any spelling mistakes, because it doesn't.
It's very obvious when you're reading a professional book and you notice there's something wrong with it. It doesn't happen often, but it has definitely happened to me maybe like once or twice in my lifetime where I've noticed a spelling mistake, not in books necessarily, but even if it's just like a news article or something, if you notice it right away when it's wrong.
And it kind of detracts from it, doesn't it, a little bit? Yeah. And I always use the example of going into Waterstones, or what would you call
Barnes
it?
and Noble.
Barnes and Noble, like just a big bookstore. Buy a book from there. You're very, very, very unlikely for you to see any spelling errors or mistakes like that. It pretty much won't happen because it's been edited and proofread so much. So we want to try and at least emulate those sort of professional levels, because we want to try and build a really, really professional looking brand as a self-publisher. So that's doing it yourself.
That's also, it's really important. Like, as we said, you have to do this multiple times. So you're not going to just get the manuscript back once and read through it once. You're going to literally do it a few times. And I guarantee, like, the more that you read it, you're still going to keep picking things up. Like, I think on some occasions we read our manuscripts like several times, like 3 or 4 times, and every single time you're still picking up more and more things. So it does take a lot of time to get it exactly right, but it's important not to skip that step and not to just do it once.
Yeah, and don't let that be like a daunting thing. Just, don't need to do it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Have a read of it, take a break from it, and then come back and read it again.
Yeah.
After all, this book could be selling for years to come. So get it right now, and then it's going to pay off in the future.
Exactly. All right, so the other option that you obviously have is to outsource it. So while you definitely can do it yourself, and there's no reason that like you should be afraid of doing it yourself, if you have the means to get it outsourced, then by all means do it, because with outsourcing, you'll be much more certain that you're going to be getting a good quality manuscript back, and they're obviously trained to do that sort of thing, so you can just be certain that you're going to get good quality, as I said. But even if you do outsource it, you're still going to want to make sure that once you get it back, like the edited version back, you're still going to want to read through it yourself, just to make sure that either they haven't changed too much of the actual content or that they also haven't missed anything themselves. And there are two options that you can do for this. One is the Urban Writers and one is Reedsy. So the Urban Writers, we do have a discount code for actually for their services. It'll be linked below the video here. But also Reedsy is kind of like it's similar to like Fiverr or Upwork. It's just a freelance service basically, but it's specifically been made for books. So everything is tailored to creating books basically. So they have like you can get book covers designed, you can do the formatting, you can do the editing and
pretty much everything.
Yeah, pretty much everything
to the book. You can get on Reedsy.
So those are a couple options for outsourcing.
And we'll link them both below in the description. And then on to formatting. So formatting is essentially the style of your book, actually how it looks to the reader when they're reading it, so the aesthetics of it. And we definitely have seen this a lot of times. So it's often overlooked by self-publishers. They think they can get an amazing content of the book written, amazing cover done, great description, got lots of reviews in it, but they've overlooked the formatting and it doesn't look like professional. So it's a very, very important step, and readers do judge a book by its cover, but also how it's formatted as well. Yeah, and there's two types of manuscripts you need to be aware of. So you need to have your EPUB, which is for your ebook, so it's formatted slightly differently, and then you got your print-ready PDF, which you use for your paperback. So there's two different types of manuscripts. Okay.
So when it comes to the actual content inside of your book, the main sort of format of it is going to be obviously your covers. Your cover is going to be first, and then when you open the book, there's obviously always like the title page with the information of the book and stuff, and then you're going to flip it. It has a copyright page, and then you'll have the table of contents, and then you can put a lead magnet in there if you want to. This isn't obviously necessary, but it's a great way to build your email list and build your audience for future use. And then,
if you don't know what lead magnet is, we'll cover it in another video separate from this playlist, but we'll cover exactly what lead magnet is and how you can use it to build your brand.
Yep. And then you're going to have your intro and your body chapters and your conclusion. And then lastly, you'll have your request for a review. Again, this last one is kind of optional, but we definitely highly recommend it because it's a great way to get reviews on your book once it's actually been published. It just makes it easier for the reader to go and leave you a review.
Yeah. Okay, so and formatting, again, we have two options. Either do it yourself or you can outsource it. So first of all, doing it yourself.
So when you do it yourself, first off, you could use a software such as Vellum or Atticus. These are both really great softwares for formatting your own book at home. Vellum, unfortunately, is only for Macs. So if you don't have a Mac, then this is not an option for you, unfortunately, but you can always use Atticus. And then you can also use Google Docs or Microsoft Word, but this is a bit more work, because you have to get all the little details that normally the software would take care of for you. So the softwares obviously do cost money, but they're one-time payments, and we personally think they're definitely worth the money. Once you get past the slight learning curve that they have, it's actually really easy, honestly, to create really, really good-looking books by yourself. And the more that you do them, you get better and better at them. So I definitely would recommend just investing in it if you
want to do it.
If you want to do it, yeah, exactly.
It's not for everyone. If you've got quite a busy schedule.
Yeah, that's true.
You can also go into point number 2, which is outsourcing it. So obviously it comes at a cost, but it does save you the time. So kind of weighing up between saving a bit of money or saving a bit of time, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So option number 1. Reedsy, Fiverr, Upwork, as we discussed earlier, they're all your freelance services where you can pretty much go and hire someone to do your formatting for you. Reedsy is the book-specific one, and Fiverr and Upwork a bit more general, but you can find formatters on there. Mm-hmm. And also, number 2 is we actually do offer a kind of in-house formatting service where we will take your manuscript and format it into nice, really professional looking form. So
that's for the EPUB and the paperback.
That's EPUB and paperback. All you need to do is send us your manuscript and send us the dimensions you want, and then we'll pretty much send it to you. So we'll leave the links of Reedsy, Fiverr, Upwork, and also our website below as well. Okay, right, so just going to go over to, first of all, let's look at Hemingway. Do you want to explain Hemingway?
So Hemingway is one of the editing apps that we were looking at before. So I always recommend to read through the manuscript first yourself to pick up any really obvious things, and then send it through editing apps afterwards because there will be less for it to pick up. But basically all you have to do is with your manuscript, I'm pretty sure there's like a character limit. I don't know exactly what it is at the moment, but basically it will only let you copy and paste so much content into this at a time. So usually I'll just go like a chapter at a time. So you copy and paste your chapter into it. And then as you can see here, so this is the example page that basically just pops up when you open it, but it does all these different things. So it will tell you if the sentence structure is wrong or if like sentences are hard to read. It'll pick up any grammar errors that you maybe have missed, like extra commas, or maybe there's supposed to be a comma where there isn't one, as well as obviously spelling errors. And as you can see here, it also kind of helps you with picking up whether things are passive voice or not, or whether they should be or not. But basically, yeah, it's really straightforward. You just copy and paste it in. And Outright and Grammarly are the same as this as well. Like, they're all really easy to use. It's just a matter of sort of, I guess, you picking which one you like the best or which one you think gives you the best feedback. So,
and they all are free?
So they all have a free version. So Hemingway, I think, is the only one of the three that doesn't actually have like a premium version. So everything you see here is just everything you get. Whereas with Grammarly and Outright, you can pay a bit more for the paid versions, but to be honest, I personally think they're quite pricey, and the free version does a pretty good job. But again, it's totally up to you whether or not you want to pay for it or not, whether you think you need that extra bit of help if you are doing it yourself. And then the other thing that we're just really quickly going to show you is for the difference in paperback and ebook. So obviously, you know, when you open a paperback, you've, like, most people have at least like looked at a book before, you know kind of generally what the formatting looks like. But just to show you what an EPUB file would look like. So when you obviously are using an e-reader, you have like clickable links and stuff that take you directly to where the chapter is. So for example, on the contents page, you see all of these are hyperlinked. So if you wanted to click on one of the chapters, it takes you directly to the chapter. So I clicked on chapter 5 and now it's taking me to chapter 5. Whereas obviously in a paperback, you obviously can't click on a paperback book. So instead
maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe one day, you never know.
That'd be cool.
So with a paperback book, in the table of contents here, instead of the hyperlinks, it'll obviously just have like the page number that you can flip to. So that's like kind of the main difference, I guess, between the formatting, is that you obviously have to have hyperlinks in hyperlinks in an EPUB. And I guess the other thing as well is, with an e-reader, the dimensions are always quite different. So paperbacks, you always have a set dimension. It's either going to be like 5x8 or 6x9, whereas with e-readers, it's just going to depend on the reader that the individual person is using. So whether it's like a Kindle or even your phone or whatever. So it's always going to be a bit different. So the formatting is just a bit different, but that's the whole reason you need two different documents. Yeah,
and I was going to say, you mentioned the dimensions there, 5x8 or by 6x9. With your book formatting softwares, for example, Vellum or Atticus, you can simply choose the dimensions of your book. So you can either, when you actually go to get it finalized, you can choose 5x8, 6x9. There is other dimensions there, but we tend to stick to those two. I guess the 6x9 just stands out a bit more on the page. So recently we started doing 6x9, but 5x8 is also fine. And then you just need to match your cover size to the dimensions of your manuscript.
So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. All right, so everything that we've discussed pretty much in the video today is going to be linked in the description, obviously, as well as our discount code for the Urban Writers. So don't forget to check out the description area for all the different resources. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. So if you're liking the content, if you're finding it helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We really, really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.
We'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye for now. Thanks.